Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another session on logic development. We have discussed two types of iterative constructs. One is a pre-test loop, that is a while loop. Another one is a post-test loop, called as do-while loop or a repeat until loop. So those are the two types of loops that we have seen earlier. It's time for us to move ahead with other kind of loop. The other kind of loop that is available with us is an automatic counter loop, as we call it as. Now, what do you mean by automatic counter loop? As the name says, it's automatic. That means certain things will happen over here automatically. And it also is called as automatic counter loop. Now, when I use the word counter, what do you mean by that? That means it's going to take care of counting something, counting the number of iterations and so on. Ashish, you had turned on your camera, that's good. Others who don't turn on the cameras, I'm going to make them move out of the classroom anyway. Okay, so if you don't turn on your camera, you are out of the meeting. So there is no choice. I'm not going to request you every day that turn on your camera. If I see your camera off, without even asking you, I'm going to remove you from the meeting. So that's not a choice. And if you have any difficulty, you have to intimate us beforehand. Okay, it should not be like keep on calling your name, turn on your camera, turn on your camera. That will not happen. Okay, and I'm serious about it. So Bhagyashri, Shweta, please take care. Okay, I'm not going to ask anybody. If I see your camera off, you go out of the meeting. As simple as this. Okay, so what we are going to look at is an automatic counter loop. So let's look at this concept of automatic counter loop. What do you mean by automatic? And you'll find in several languages, you'll find this feature of automatic counting. Okay, so it's not just like we are discussing something over here. You may come down saying, sir, it doesn't happen. Likewise in C language or something like that. It is in most of the languages. And with the modern version of C++ and other languages, there also it becomes automatic loop. So what exactly is this automatic counter loop? Let's try and explore first. This type of loop increments or decrements a variable each time a loop is repeated. So every time we perform the operation inside the body of the loop gets the loop control variable is either incremented or decremented automatically for you. So earlier, while we were doing that counting while using while loop, it was you who had to take care of ensuring the counter variable is incremented or decremented so that the condition becomes false at some point of time. You had to take care. Now that's not the case. Now, moment you create this loop, it will start counting automatically. And depending on how you design your loop, it will either increment or it will decrement. To design an automatic counter loop, the programmer uses a variable as a counter and starts counting at a specific number. So you have a choice to specify where to start counting from and increments variable each time the loop is processed. So it need not be always increment. It could also be decrement. It need not be always increment. It could also be decrement. So it can either increment or decrement, and both these operations can happen automatically for you. Whereas remember, in while loop, it was we who specified that we had to increment or we had to decrement. Now it is not that we who will be specifying whether it should be incremented or not to be incremented or decremented. This will happen automatically for you. Okay. So it is called as an automatic counter loop. Why? Because the operation of increment or decrementing can happen automatically for you. Now, by what factor will the loop control variable be increment or decrement? Oh, that choice we have to specify. That we have a choice to specify. If you specify, the amount to be incremented is specified by the instruction. So we have a choice to specify by what amount it should be incremented or by what amount it should be decremented. When you do not specify that, it will get incremented or decremented by 1. The set of instruction within the body of the loop repeats until counter is greater than or equal to ending number. So we'll have some limit. So unless and until your counter does not exceed that limit, it will keep on counting. So it can either increment or decrement, whatever it is. So we'll have 3 variables over here: a constant, a variable, or an expression. So beginning value and the ending value, the increment value may be. That means there are 3 values that we have to give: where to begin, where to end, and how to increment. And all those 3 values can be constants, variable, or they can be some calculations, some expressions as well. They should not be changed during the processing of the instruction in the loop. They may be changed after the loop is completed. So while the loop is working, while you are counting, you don't really have to worry about how to count it. So this will not increment, will not decrement. It will happen automatically for you. Although we have a chance to interfere, but even if you don't, it will happen automatically for you. So it is a loop that will get incremented or decremented automatically for you. So how do you normally say when it comes to zero code? We say for counter in the range, begin to end. So the counter will initially have the value of begin. So you can think about it this way. With this particular counter that we have created, this counter variable will initially get this value. So this begin value will be the initial value of this counter. Till the time it doesn't exceed this value, the statements which are present inside the body of the loop, this will get executed. So this step value decide after you have executed the statements inside the body of the loop, these statements are sorry, it looks like there was some network issue. Momentarily I got disconnected and again I got connected. Anyway, we are discussing this part of the discussion. So counter is a variable used for counting. So this counter is a variable that is used for counting. Begin is the beginning value of this counter. End is the last value of this counter. So when the counter value becomes more than end, it will come out of loop. And step value is the factor with which it should be incremented decremented after every iteration. To decrement, step value needs to be negative numbers. So if I say -5, yeah, -1, so value of counter will be decremented. And begin must be greater than end. So we'll come to this aspect later. Decrement aspect I'll take up later. But remember, if I say step 1, that means it will increment by 1. If I say step -1, yeah, -2, it will increment by -1 or it will decrement by -1, it will decrement by -2. But if you're going to decrement, your start value should be smaller than the larger than the end value. And if you're going to increment, then the begin value should be smaller than the end value. Yes, sir. From smaller value, you can go on incrementing, and from larger value, you can come on decrementing till the end. So that's what we have to take a precaution. So for loop, for statement of for loop is a definite loop. So it's always counting loop. So we know for sure in advance how many times the iterations have to be performed. So we have to provide three things: initialize, evaluate, and increment. So we say counter in the range of initial value to final value, step 1, do something. So we'll keep on doing this something till the value of counter is in the range of initial value to the final value. So that's the basic design of this particular kind of loop that you have. Now, having understood this basic idea about this particular loop, let's directly start off with some examples. And with those examples, I'll discuss how is this loop different. And then later after that, we'll discuss when to use which kind of loop. So let's go ahead with Flogorithm and see how does Flogorithm provide support for creating this kind of loop. So let me jump onto Flogorithm. I hope you can see my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Is the screen visible, Flogorithm?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's go ahead with an example of problem. We'll take a simple example of counting. We would again want to count print numbers in the range of 1 to n. So take down a question, accept integer n I wonder why am I thrown out of the meeting every now and then. Looks like somebody took it. Looks like somebody took it very seriously. तो मैंने कहा मैं आपको मीटिंग से निकाल दूंगा. So somebody prayed to the God. कि सर कोई निकाल दो मीटिंग से. And maybe he has granted your wish. But I'll not give up. Here you go. So take down the question. Accept integer n and print all integers in the range of 1 to n in ascending order. Accept an integer n and print all integers in the range of 1 to n in ascending order. So that's the problem statement that is there. Let's start. So we require some variables. So I'll add some variable. I'll declare a variable. And that variable could be my limit. That's the integer n, till which I would like to print. It's an integer variable. Then I also have a variable that I plan to declare, and that's my counter. I'm going to count those numbers. So have I done that? I'm going to ask the user to enter the number. Here we go. Please enter the integer. ऐसा कुछ तो एक मैंने मैसेज दे दिया. Please enter an integer. एक मैसेज दे दिया. And then we'll accept an integer. And that's my limit. That's my limit. Now here we plan to perform some operations. So we go with for loop. So in this for loop, we have three things: the start value, the end value, and the step value. Note कीजिएगा. So my variable is counter. For counter, I would like to start with 1. I would like to end with the value of limit. And every time I would like to increment it by 1. So that's increasing loop. So we say for counter equal to 1 to limit. So as long as the value of counter lies in the range of 1 to limit, this loop will continue. Moment the value of counter goes beyond limit, I'm not going to increment or decrement the limit anyway now. Moment the value of counter goes beyond this limit and a limit के ऊपर चला जाएगा, it will start with 1 and go beyond the limit, it will stop. So here we go. And we write the statement. What we would like to do, we just want to print it. So I say over here, output counter. Remember in while loop, we had to take care of incrementing the counter. Here we are not taking care of incrementing the counter. And if I want to just tell the program is over, so I could just say, that's all folks. कुछ नहीं है, खत्म हो गया program. The picture is over. So here, note कीजिएगा, as long as the value of counter is in the range of 1 to limit, we'll print the counter. Note, I am not incrementing or decrementing counter anything over here. कुछ नहीं कर रहे, no increment, no decrement, nothing. It's an arithmetic loop. Now, if it's an arithmetic loop, let's run the code and test it once. So we have been asked to enter number once again, and I enter number like 5. I enter number like 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all, folks. Print over. Let's run the code once again. This time I enter number like 10. It'll print the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's all, folks. It is a pre-test loop. Next time when I run the program, I enter number like -100. अब 1 से लेके -100 तक इंक्रीमेंट कैसे कर सकते हैं? So if I run this loop, it says that's all 4. That means no number has been printed because it is a pre-test loop. Here we are saying for counter in the range of 1 to limit. Limit अगर -100 दे दिया आपने, 1 से लेके -100 तक, step by 1. Can you ever go on incrementing from 1 to 100 -100 by incrementing by 1? So in that case, the condition is false for the very first time, and it just printed that's all, folks. So for it to be an arithmetic loop, the value of counter should be less than limit. That means limit should be larger than counter. So here I go and I give limit as 15. And that's quite a large value. So it is correctly printed numbers in the range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. And when it comes out, it says that's all, folks. So that's how we have constructed a loop. That's how we have constructed a for loop. And this for loop is arithmetic counting loop. But what we have created is a pseudocode right now. I'll flowchart. I'll also come with a pseudocode for the same for you all to refer to. Meanwhile, I'll first share this particular problem statement with you all. I'll save this thing first. Let me save it. This is for 1, I'll say. I'll print it and I'll save it to you, share it to you. Let me know whether you have received the solution. Just give me a second. Yeah, I shared with you all. Have you received for1.pdf, everybody? Have you all received? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Sagar, tell me what was the question? Sagar, question क्या था?
So actually, I did not noted it.
क्यों? Didn't I repeat 3-4 times? Let this be the last time when I say something, you have to do it. There is some reason why am I telling you those things. And if you're not going to take it seriously, then how can I be held responsible for your understanding? Okay. There is a reason why I tell you note down. So if I say note down, you need to note down. Note it down at least this time around. Next time, if you don't do it, you have to come and see me at the office. Note down. It was accept integer and display all integers in the range of 1 to n in ascending order. You have any difficulty except writing it, Sagar?
No.
Sagar, you have any difficulty in writing it down?
No, sir.
So I will be close jaldi se. And same goes to everybody else, all of you. You have to note down means you have to note down. I may ask you to just show me your notebook also. So don't fool me. Now we'll just write the same code in a slightly different fashion. So take down the second question now. If there is any question, please ask first. Have a look at this. If there is any question, please ask. Have you understood this counting loop, everybody? As long as the value of counter is in the range of 1 to limit. The moment the counter, note कीजिएगा, I have not initialized the counter. I have not given initial value of limit. Counter will get initial value as 1. And moment its value goes beyond limit, it will stop automatically. Okay, so it is automatically incrementing it by 1. So yeah, by default hota hai 1. But if it's anything other than 1, then we'll have to specify. Step by is what we'll have to specify.
Sir.
Note down the next question. Accept integer n. Accept an integer n and display all integers in the range of n to 1 in descending order. N to 1 in descending order. Ek tha ascending. That means we started with 1 and we stopped with n limit. Now it is like in descending order. It says accept integer n and display all integers in the range of 1 to the number. What is it? Descending order. That means 1, then maybe 0, and then 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, likewise. So from 1 till that descending number, we have to go ahead. So it will say 1 and 0, so it will print, suppose. So we ask the user to enter the limit, and this time around, you would like to decrement it by 1. So I say step value -1. So I'm going to say decreasing by 1. So if I'm saying decreasing by 1, it says step -1. So it's going to decrease. Limit decreasing by step 1. So you want decrementing. By default, it was incrementing. Okay. So for counter in the range, if I say from 1 से लेके limit तक, तो assume करो
Search of the margin.
will it ever happen that if I go on decrementing from 1 by -1 every time, will I ever reach 5? Is it possible? Yes or no? Can I start with 1, go on decrementing till 5?
No, sir.
No, that's not
No,
possible. So let's run this particular code and see what happens when we write such a statement. So here I go, I enter number like 5, and then it says there is an error. A for loop cannot step by a negative value If you want using decrementing loop, select descending in the window. So I have said descending. Not that I have not said descending. But the problem was you're saying from 1 to limit -1. No. So let's say from limit from 5, I can definitely reach to 1. So if I say go on descending, okay, from n to 1, तो लिमिट अगर 5 है तो 5 4 3 2 1 ऐसे डिसेंडिंग में जा सकते हैं. But then in that case, I'll have to start with 5, and every time I decrement by 1, 5 will become 4, then decrement by 1, it will become 3. So that's how it. So if you're using descending loop, always make sure your start value is larger than the end value. And if you're using ascending loop, the start value should be smaller than the limit value. Now with that small change, if I run this particular code, let's see what happens. I enter number like 5, and this time around, what happened? Let's see. For loop cannot step by negative. Okay. Here we go. So I have said both. I said descending as well as step 1. So I'll just I'll say descending. So if I say descending by 1, that means it is -1. Okay, so let's go ahead with 1. I enter number like 5, and if I say enter, so 5 4 3 2 1 descending. Okay, so I'm saying descending by 1. This means -1 karte jao. In pseudocode, I'll say -1. So here say 5 4 3 2 1 descending order. So what we have now made a change, and suppose if I give limit as -10, तो 1 से लेके -10 तक descending order हो ही नहीं सकता है, तो condition false for the very first time. हाँ, but if I from -10 से 1 descending order हो ही नहीं सकता है, because -10 से 1 descending order नहीं हो सकता है. So if I give number like 15, that's okay. 15 से 1 तक you can have in descending order. Question क्या कहता था? Accept integer n and display all integers in the range of n to 1 in descending order. तो देखिए 15 से लेके 1 तक सारे आ गए. 15 14 13 12 जो भी रहेगा, all numbers have correctly got displayed. So we have correctly displayed integers in the range of n to 1. ये सारे हमने सही तरीके से display कर दिए. So these are 2 ways in which you can write this loop. So whenever it comes to counting, remember we had used while loop also for the purpose of counting. So don't use while loop for the purpose of counting. Whenever the number of iterations to be performed are known beforehand, you'll always go ahead with for loop. Listen to very carefully. Whenever you know for sure how many times the operations are to be done, in any language you are working, always use for loop. When the number of iterations to be performed are fixed, you know before you enter inside the body of the loop. So if you know it, I have to do this operation 3 times, 4 times, n times. Always and always in whichever language you are working, go ahead with for loop. While loop is to be used when you do not know the number of times the iterations are to be performed. In while and for, both of them are pre-test loop. That means before we execute any statement inside the body of loop, we check for the condition. But sometimes the question demands that this operation has to be performed at least once. Then I'll neither use for loop, I'll neither use while loop, I'll rather go with do while loop. Because repeat until loop. That is a post-test loop. So there, the operation will perform at least once. In while and for, they are seen. If the condition is false for the very first time, the operation is never performed. That can happen. So while and for are pre-test loop. Repeat until and do while are post-test loop. So you'll use post-test loop when the number of iterations to be performed is at least once. That means at least एक बार तो वो काम करना ही है. You'll use while and we'll use while and while loop when the number of iterations to perform is not known beforehand. You'll use for loop when you know the number of iterations to perform. So it is very important that you use the right type of loop at the right place. People come down telling me, sir, काम तो कर रहा है ना? And then no language would have provided these multiple kind of loops. There are specific areas that tells us how is the working. So which loop you have used will give an indication as to what kind of operations are being done, whether it is performed at least once, whether it is for fixed number of times, whether it is for unknown number of times. That idea we get from the loop. So take one more question, but we'll do one thing with this third question. We will again come with the flowchart, and then we'll write pseudocodes for something like that. So one more question we'll take. Please note down. Accept an integer n and display all even numbers in the range of 1 to n. Okay. So let's if
सर 1 to n या 2 to n?
1 to n, 1 से लेके n तक के सारे इवन नंबर्स प्रिंट करना है. So if I say tell me all the even numbers between 1 to 15, so I'll start with 2 only, na? And 15 is also not there. Then 2, 4, 8,
Okay. But
10, 12, 14. But 1 to 15 के अंदर के even numbers हैं. So I would like to display all even numbers in the range of 1 to n in ascending order. वो भी add करो. So we're going to change the same code slightly. I'll save this as I'll say for 3. Look, we again take limit. We take a counter, but I instead of calling this counter as counter, I'll call it as even. And my even number का initial value will now be 2 because 1 to n करना है. The first even number is 2. 2 से कहाँ तक जाना है? 2 से limit तक जाना है. But if I start with 2, the next even number is 4. So I'll say step by 2. इस बार step by 1 नहीं करेंगे, step by 2 करेंगे. यानी 2 के बाद 4, 4 के बाद 8, 8 के बाद sorry, 2 के बाद 4, 4 के बाद 6, 6 के बाद 8. Every time I'll increment the value of that particular counter by 2. I'll not count this variable as counter. I'll just call this as even. So what we are saying, even equal to limit step 2. So even is in the range of 2 to limit. And even is in the range of 2 to limit. And every time I'm going to step by 2. And counter nahi mere paas. We have a variable called as even. I'll just call it as even. So it's a even equal to 2 to limit. So while even is in the range of 2 to limit, step by 2 is what we're saying. Rest all code is same, and every time we are going to print this even number. If I run this particular code, I will ask to enter the number, and I enter number like 10. Look at this: 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. It is correctly printed. Let's run the code once again. I print number like 15. तो मुझे चाहिए 1 से लेके 15 के अंदर के सारे even numbers print करें. It should print all even numbers in the range of 1 to 15. So let's see what happens this time round. 2, 4, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. All even numbers have correctly got printed. Now suppose if I asked you, I want to print all odd numbers in the range of 1 to n. So what change would you do?
Even equals to 1.
एक तो even equal इस वेरिएबल का नाम चेंज करोगे, even की जगह उसे odd करोगे. You change this variable. 3 की जगह मैं 4 कहता हूँ. So I could just change this variable from the name as even to odd. And here I'll say for odd, start value क्या ले odd के लिए? 1 लेंगे. Limit तक जाना है, step 2 कहना है. And then here we'll display that odd. I think the work is done. So for odd equal to 1 to limit, step 2, and output odd, and it will keep on running. So if I run this particular code, I enter number like 10, like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Next time, again I enter number like 15, like what we had done last time. So if I enter 15, so it correctly prints 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. All those things are correctly got displayed. So these are like small changes that you have to do to fulfill this requirement. Okay. So I'll share this course with you all right now. I think I have shared only.
Sir, only first one you shared.
That's only one. I'll
Yes.
share all these 4 programs first.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. पूछो ना. Yes, somebody said excuse.
Sir, it was me. एकदा रिपीट करता का सर?
काय
एकदा रिपीट करता का सर?
काय काय
हे आताच समजलं नाही का?
काय?
नेटवर्क इश्यूमुळे डिस्कनेक्ट झालं होतं.
करेक्ट, बट काय रिपीट करू ते विचारतोय.
एक्सप्लेन करा फक्त आता जे समजलं. Numbers from display 1 to 2.
Okay, I'll do it. First, I'll share the files and then I'll explain. I'll first quickly share the programs and then I'll discuss it once again. So I shared 3 files. For one I had shared earlier. Now 2, 3, and 4 has been shared once again. And I hope all of you have received. So here, Rohit, the question was accept integer and display all odd numbers in the range of 1 to n in ascending order. So अगर number 7 है, तो I want 1, 3, 5, and 7 odd numbers. So what we do? We say counter is equal to no, this is not the question solution. For 4 was the solution. Here. So what we do? We take a variable called as limit and we take another variable called as odd. And then I'm saying for odd in the range of 1 to limit. यानी अगर limit 10 है या 12 है तो 1 to 12 या 1 to 10 whatever it is. But I'm starting with 1 and I'm going to increment it by 2 every time. So 1 को 2 से increment किया becomes 3. 3 को 2 से increment किया तो it becomes 5. So it will keep on incrementing by 2 every time till the time we do not reach the limit. And once you reach the limit, it will come out.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Anybody has any questions regarding the examples that we had just now taken? किसी को कोई doubt है क्या? Anybody? Rahul, turn on your camera, otherwise I'll be forced to move you from the meeting. I made an announcement before you joined.
Sir, actually, I have network issue.
तो बताएगा
Yes.
कौन? तो पहले मैंने कहा ना बताओ. If you don't tell me beforehand, then I'll assume that you are not interested. तो बताओ
Notes.
पहले message डालो, direct message डालो.
Okay, sir.
It can happen once in a while. I am also facing trouble today. I am in constantly disconnected and connected. Okay. Now, take the next question. But this time around, it is for you all to solve it. So you will quickly discuss it and then solve it. I'll break you out in the rooms. Shouldn't take much of a time for you to solve that particular question. But please make sure that you write down the problem statement correctly. Please note down. Accept an integer n. Accept
Sir, can
integer
you
n
please repeat?
and display the sum of first accept integer n and display sum of first n odd integers. ऐसा करते हैं sum and product of first n odd integers. Sum and product of first n odd integers. So all of you have the problem statement. I am breaking out in the rooms, discuss along with you, along with your friends, and come with a solution. But when you're in the room, you make sure that you discuss, turn on your cameras, discuss, participate in the discussion, so that you come with a perfect kind of solution for it. Okay. So question is accepting integer n, and assumption is that integer is always positive non-zero integer, assuming that. So you don't have to worry about it. It will never be -5 or something like that. So that's a given fact for you. And you have to display sum and product of all integers, all odd integers in the range of 1 to n. सारे numbers का sum and product is what you have displayed. So the rooms are open. Please join your rooms and start solving this question. Since all of you have now solved it, let's go ahead with the team that submitted the solution last. Close to your team was team number 3, yeah, 2.
Team 1, sir.
Team 1, acha, you are your team 1. So let's have a look at solution from team 1. So what was the name of your file?
Sir, 4, 5, team 1.
Okay, so there it goes. Let's check. Again, I repeat, the question was accept integer n and display sum and product of all integers in the range of 1 to all odd integers in the range of 1 to n. So that was the solution. No problem. Statement. They have one variable limit, odd, sum is initialized to 0, good. Product is initialized to 1, that's perfect. Please enter integer. You ask the user to enter the limit. You say odd equal to 1 to limit, step 2. That's perfect. Sum is equal to sum plus odd, product is equal to product into odd, and you're not bothered about odd, it will automatically get incremented. And first n mat milega, first jo bhi aapke paas number hai, you already have that limit. So you could have just said sum of first limit odd integers is, and that's output sum. I think this is a perfect solution to work with. Okay, it's correct, but is there any better way to do it? We'll see as if somebody has done it. So if I say first 5 odd integers, sum of first 5 even integers is n, and product of first n integers is first 5 integers is 15. Let's check for another one. If I take input as 6, it says sum of the first n integers is 9. Is that right? First 6 odd numbers ka sum 9 hai. Let's check. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus what are they here? Sum of first and odd integers is 9. Is that right?
Sir, it was perfectly working on Kaustuv computer.
Pardon?
It was perfectly working when we tested it out.
It was perfectly working with.
Sir, the code was perfectly working when we tested it out.
But is it right?
Sir, it's right. Yes, sir, it's right.
Okay, let's save this file and run it once again. Let's give input as 6 once again. Is it right?
Right. Yes.
तो सब सही है क्या? Kaustubh, you are muted. Kaustubh, you are muted.
Sir, 1 plus 3 plus 5, 9, and 1 into 3 into 5 equals to 15.
Okay. So according to you, this is correct?
Yes.
Okay. So team 1, please read the question once again. Everybody in team 1, read the question once again. Okay. So team 1, this is a wrong solution. Let's see what others have done it. Who has submitted this one?
Sir, my team.
Okay. So you're saying num equal to 1 to num, step 1. 1 equal to 1 to num. So num ka value agar filal for the first time you accept the number as 5. So here when I say num equal to 1, so num becomes 1. 1 in the range of 1 to 1. Always to step 2, that will be false. This will not work at all. The for loop itself is wrong. You will not get any answer. Look at that, no answer. The for loop construction was wrong. You have not taken a counter. You are saying num equal to 1 to num. How can it be? You have initialized variable and your limit variable is one and the same. Here you are saying product is equal to 1 to num, and then you are displaying product. So in this case, if num is 5, it only displays this message 5 times. Let's check it out. When num is 5, it displays that message कितने बार आ गया 1 2 3 टाइम्स so step by 2 था तो 3 टाइम्स इसने डिस्प्ले किया मैसेज you haven't done any addition so this was very far away from the expected result okay let's have a look at the next one this is odd limit sums 0 product 1 correct please enter integer that was good enough integer n क्यों चाहिए वो में से प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट में इसलिए n कहने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है and you accept a limit for odd in the range of 1 to limit step 2 again it's the same thing what team 1 has done ये किसका solution है
Team 3.
team 3 okay let's see again we enter number like 6 and we say 9 and 15 that's wrong
सर आपने बोला फर्स्ट एंड ऑड इंटीजर्स ना सर फिर
Correct.
ऑड तक ही चेक करना
correct
सो बराबर है ना सर
okay any was there any other team who has submitted the solution
Yes, 4
team 4 क्या है solution का नाम
odd. Yes.
louder
Odd.
odd I'll give a name correctly iterative है for odd कुछ तो बोलो loop odd say something
Yes.
okay odd let's see whether this team has got it right limit odd number sum 0 product this time around your team has used right names please enter integer very good enter the limit odd number is equal to 1 to limit step 2 perfect odd number is equal to odd number plus sum and you display the result so one team nahi all teams have got it wrong but surprisingly all of you are thinking in the same fashion so my advice is the first advice that we had read the problem statement carefully follow the problem statement carefully all of you have gone wrong and the mistake is you have not read the problem statement correctly so again I break you out on the room don't make attempt to solve first understand what the problem is अरे रूम ज्वाइन करो मोनिका ज्वाइन द रूम I could see two teams figuring out what the problem was. The first two teams have failed to identify what the problem was. Team 3 and team 4 have figured out what the problem was. So would you like to share and let us know what was the problem? Team 3 and team 4, I saw you have both
Yes, sir.
identified what the problem was.
Yes.
बताइए.
The problem was that this code was printing odd numbers. Like if we enter any number, it will print odd number till that number.
हाँ.
We wanted, like, if the input was 6, then we needed the first 6 odd numbers.
So what is the difference between first 6 and in odd numbers in the range of 1 to 6?
There can't be 6 odd numbers in the range of 1 to 6.
Correct. So what are the first 6 odd numbers if I ask you?
It's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9,
So that's beyond 6.
and
correct?
11. Yes.
Okay. So Ashish, would you like to add? You have also done the right thing.
Yes, sir, same.
हाँ बताइए.
There's nothing different. Same as he said.
तो क्या गलती क्या की थी? What are the
गलती ये
mistakes?
की थी कि हमने प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन अज्यूम करके चल रहे थे रेंज 1 to n 1 to n, तो अब भी एक क्वेश्चन अलग था.
अज्यूम करके चल रहे थे, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? गलती कहाँ की?
हम उस रेंज में जितने ऑड नंबर है उनकी एडिशन और प्रोडक्ट कर रहे थे, लेकिन हमें जो इंटीजर इनपुट लिया है उतने फर्स्ट मतलब उतने नंबर्स हमें एक्सेप्ट करके उनके एडिशन और प्रोडक्ट लेना
So
था.
where was the mistake? Where did you commit the mistake? First stage, defining the problem or understanding the problem, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Stage 1 में गलती की हमने. So you have to be very careful while you are solving the problems. You cannot make some silly mistakes. That means although you know what is to, you could have very well solved this, but still you failed. The reason was simple. That means you did not pay attention. You, as you were saying, you went on to assume कि ऐसा ही है. जो सर ने पहले 2-4 प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व किए वैसा ही रहेगा. With that assumption you went ahead. You did not give enough importance to अरे simple है. You are in a hurry to get the solution. So these are common mistakes. So never be in a hurry to start writing the program. People end up writing programs. या तो कम से कम algorithm पे रुक गए. People in a hurry to write the program. Here you did not give enough time to understand what the problem is. So first understand what is the problem. The question was accept the integer n and display. Suppose if I said display first n even numbers. Here it was about the first n, not even numbers in the range of 1 to n. So if the n is 3, n is 5, first 5 even numbers could be 1, could be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. First 5 even numbers. And even numbers in the range of 1 to 5 could be only 2 and 4. So even numbers in the range of 1 to n and first n even numbers, these are two totally different things. Anybody has solved other than team 3? किसी ने solve किया है क्या? Let's check whether what team 3 has done. I
Sir.
see team 3 solving this.
Sir.
Any other team has solved this?
Sir,
बोलिए.
so sir, you gave example of 10 right now, number. So you wanted the sum of first two, that is 1 and 3, in odd and in even 2 or 4, 2 and 4.
Yeah, it was not we who wanted. It is the question which wanted. Right?
Yes, sir.
The question पढ़ो ना ढंग से. It is not that difficult question. So you have to spend time, read the question carefully, even before you set about solving that particular question. So पहला golden rule है याद रखो. Read the problem statement carefully. Don't be in a hurry. So team 3 has solved it. So let's see what is their solution. Pay attention everybody. वैसे एक odd है, limit है, sum है, sum is equal to 0 है, product है, product 1 है, please enter integer कह रहे हैं, limit कह रहे हैं. This looks right, but I want team 2 to explain. Let's see this now. This time around I enter in NS5. Now it says 25 and 6, 945. Okay. If I enter number like 6, last time you were getting something like 9 and 15 or something like that. Now it is 36 and so and so. It seems to be correct. Let me take a smaller number and see. If I take sum and product of the first 3 odd numbers, so a 9 hai, that's 1 plus 3 plus 5, that's 9. And product 15 hai, kaise? 1 into 3 into 5, that's 15. It's a perfect solution. So understand the problem carefully. And now I want team 3 to also explain the solution. Who will explain? Team 3, you have permission to share your screen and explain. तुला explain करो logic. Team 3 कौन कौन था? आशीष, भाग्यश्री and अरे explain करो logic क्या किया आपने? सही तो किया अभी explain करो.
ठीक है फिर मैं एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ.
हाँ. शेयर करो स्क्रीन,
मैं ही करूँगा.
शेयर करो स्क्रीन. इसके पास है शेयर स्क्रीन या मैं करूँ स्क्रीन शेयर?
आशीष के पास है सर, आशीष के पास है.
टीम में कौन कौन था? आशीष ड्रॉप आउट हो गया शायद.
सर मैं भी था. क्या किया है हमने
हाँ.
इधर,
हाँ.
एक तो लिमिट है ना, लिमिट लिमिट इज 5.
ओके होल्ड ऑन. हाँ बोलो संजय. हाँ बोलो संजय.
limit will be 5, then we are calculating there is the direct 2 into limit. It will converted into 10,
Why
and
10?
we
Why 10?
because we want 5 odd numbers.
Correct.
So we are our logic is double it limit.
Double the limit. But
And
why are we
double-
doubling the limit?
Double it limits because we want
Because the
Oh.
nth odd number will be twice of number itself, correct?
yes
of
sir,
number. Okay.
yes.
And then you apply the same logic. That's
Yes,
correct. Okay. So here there is a small change that they have done, and it was the correct thing. The rest all was same. It was only the condition that you had to write. So let's see, is this the best idea or not? Huh? Okay, I'll share my screen.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, but the question says in the range of 1 to n.
Is it? Did I say in the range of 1 to n? No.
Yes, sir.
No,
At the end,
no.
you said, sir.
Others, did I say in the range of 1 to n?
No, no.
Oh.
Display first
No.
n odd integer.
I said sum
Okay.
of
Display first word.
display नहीं कहा. Sum and product of first and odd integers.
Yes sir,
Yes.
yes sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
First and odd integers. I did not say in the range of 1 to n. That was the one that was checking, are you paying attention to the problem statement or not? Because क्या होता है, 4 example एक जैसे लिए तो you are in thought process, हाँ next वाला भी वैसा ही है. So I was cautious enough to say first and odd integers. And when I say write down the problem statement, that's very important. You write it down what the customer is saying. Because we have pre-notions in our mind. हमारे दिमाग में पहले ही कुछ ideas होते हैं. And we feel हाँ यही रहेगा. While the customer has something else in his mind. So पहले note कीजिएगा without applying your brain. Just note down what the customer requirements are. So once you have very clearly noted down what the customer requirements are, then you can read that 10 times. But if you don't write it down, then you have made your own assumptions. ख्यालों की दुनिया में ऐसा ही रहेगा. I thought it was that way. There is no importance what you thought, what you felt. What is the customer requirement? That is something that we have to fulfill. So you have to be careful enough. So note down. Noting down is very important. Here you go. So let's work on this solution. This was, I'll say for 5. Okay, for 5. Yeah? So the idea that they have applied is, suppose if I say the 5th odd integers, for so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 5th even integer 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. यानी twice of the number के आगे तो नहीं रहता है odd या even integer, nth odd even number. So they are saying for odd equal to 2 to limit into 2. So if it is limit into 2, I'll always put into bracket. So I'm improving the code. Limit into and then step 2. So they're saying for odd equal to 2, 1 to twice of limit. तो लिमिट का अगर 5 है तो 5 to the 10. तो जब तक ऑड का नंबर इज इन द रेंज ऑफ 1 to limit into 2 step 2. Now when I say limit into 2, that means this operation has to perform every time. So to avoid doing that, I could have changed the value. Instead of doing this limit into 2 every time, I could have introduced one more variable if need be. Okay. Or I could have introduced one more variable if need be. I'll say stop value. And here I'll say, watch what I'm doing. So I say stop value is equal to limit into 2. By doing so, I'll not have to perform this operation every time. I'll just say stop value. So this is better. For odd equal to 1 to stop value. And this operation of multiplying, I have done it only once. Because if you write it inside the loop here in the condition, so every time it is checking for the condition, it will also have to multiply. So multiplication operation is happening repeatedly. I get in team 3. What I'm trying to say. So when you said or in odd equal to 1 to limit into 2. So that limit into 2, that operation was to be performed every time you have to check for the condition. So I perform that operation once, store into a variable, and directly check for odd equal to 1 to stop value. Now my stop value is 10 if my limit is 5. So 1 to 10, step 2. So odd equal to odd plus 2, product equal to product into this, and then we go ahead displaying the results and so on. So this is one small improvement that we could have brought about. So I enter 5, we get 25 and 945 and so on. So that's a perfect kind of solution that we can have. I'm sharing this file with all of you. Please check whether it is right or not, because I'm having some feeling as if it's wrong. Okay, I'm sharing this file with you all. Please check whether it's right or not. Have you all received the file? Yeah, those who haven't received the file, what's the screen? सही है? Is that right? चलो बोलो सब लोग सही है नहीं है?
Wouldn't a while loop be more suitable?
Louder?
Wouldn't a while loop be more suitable?
No. I know how many times the operation has to be performed. Now, whenever you know the number of times the operation has to be performed, it's better that we go with this. Now, watch it. What I'm going to do. I'm just going to rewrite the solution once again. And tell me whether this is right or not. So this was the solution that team 3 had given. And I'm going to just change the solution from 4 for 5 to 5 for 6. And how would we do it differently? So don't worry, team 3, your solution is correct. We'll just write in a different way. Now everybody listen to me very carefully. Yeah? For a moment, I'll not take this stop value, but I'll introduce your counter. I'll teach you the safest way to write this program. अब मुझे बताइए, when you listen to this particular question, how many times the operation has to be done? ये addition and multiplication operation कितनी बार करना है आपको?
n times, sir.
N times. Who said that?
I said that.
Who is I?
Yes, sir, question.
मैं किसने बोला अभी आंसर को? Somebody said I said. Who is that I?
Sir, Sanjay.
संजय. कितनी बार करना है ऑपरेशन संजय?
n times.
N times करना है, करेक्ट?
Hmm.
तो क्यों दिमाग लगा रहे हो? तो फर्स्ट कंस्ट्रक्ट अ लूप व्हिच विल गेट एग्जीक्यूटेड n टाइम्स. तो चलो एक फॉर लूप बनाओ व्हिच विल गेट एग्जीक्यूटेड n टाइम्स. अगर मैं काउंटर से शुरू करूं तो संजय आप ही बनाओ.
Counter 1.
कहां से लेना है? 1 2 क्या लिखना होगा यहाँ?
N.
1 2 लिमिट.
हाँ.
स्टेप बाय 1 या 2.
Step by 2.
n टाइम्स रन करना है तो 5 बार रन करना है तो if the loop has to run 5 times, you have to say step by 1.
Step by 1, sir.
Yes or no? 1 2 3 4 5. So we have constructed a loop for counter equal to 1 2 limit. And if I had gone ahead printing the value of counter, what would it print? Tell me, Sanjay. अब अगर ये रन करूं मैं प्रोग्राम, तो ये काउंटर क्या प्रिंट करेगा?
1 to limit.
1 to limit प्रिंट करेगा. लेट्स सी वेदर यू आर राइट और नॉट. अगर मैंने 4 दे दिया, क्या आ गया? 1 2 3 4. ये टोटल आंसर गलत छोड़ो. 1 2 3 4 सही आ रहा है
Yes.
संजय?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So we have now constructed a loop which will get executed n times. क्या n time आपको काउंटर ऑड नंबर डिस्प्ले करना था क्या? काउंटर डिस्प्ले करना था क्या?
नहीं करना था.
नहीं करना था. That was not to be done. What are we you required to do every time? क्या करना था आपको?
So summation of odd number, summation of product.
Correct. So what I could do is summation of product नहीं.
Sir, मुझे product.
Odd numbers का summation या product करना. So I probably could have introduced one more variable called as odd. The odd number. This odd number I could initialize to value as 1. Value or odd का value 1 है. So here when I come, I'll add sum add करूँगा. I'll say sum is equal to sum plus odd number. And अगली बार product is equal to odd number. Now tell me for the first time, what is the value of odd number?
1.
1. So sum का value 0 है. 0 and plus 1 becomes 1. Product sum का value 0 है. 0 plus 1 becomes 1. Product value is 1. 1 into 1 also becomes 1.
Yes.
Next time counter will now be 2.
2.
And odd number क्या रहेगा next time?
Odd number 1 ही रहेगा.
1 ही रहेगा. तो odd number को increment करो ना 2 से, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? So there is one more way to solve this example. I could have just said now look at this. Forget about what has been written this point onwards. ये नीचे का भूल जाइए. Loop में देखिएगा. Counter equal to 1 to limit. Odd number is equal to odd number plus 2. And display odd number. I could have cut this. I could have pasted it over here. तो पहले odd number print किया, 1 आ गया. Odd number is equal to odd plus 2. 1 plus 2 now becomes 3. This loop will run how many times? 5 times अगर n 5 है. And every time I'll generate the next odd number. So it means if I say input as 5, it has generated all the odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That means you generated all the first 5 odd numbers. These are your first 5 odd numbers.
Yes, sir.
अब इनका addition या multiplication वही तो करना है. So if I give input as 10, you will get the first 10 odd numbers. देखो ये first 10 odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 13 ये number आ रहे हैं. अभी जो number आ रहे हैं first n odd numbers. Okay. So in this first n odd numbers, suppose I had given input only as 3. So I want the first 3 odd numbers. That's 1, 3, and 5. That are first 3 odd numbers. अब इनको add और multiply करना ही तो बाकी है. We are not required to display it. So I get rid of this. We just had to add and here you go. That was the only operation we had to do. So if I run this particular code, if I enter number like 5, so the sum of first 5 odd numbers is 25, and sum of first 5 product of first 5 odd numbers is 495. Let's run the code once again. I run the program once again. I enter number like 3. So कहता है sum of first 3 odd integers is 9, and product of first 3 odd integers is 15. That means 1 into 3 into 5, that is 15, and 1 plus 3 plus 5 is 9. Okay. So this is another way in which you could have solved this particular example. So what is the different logic that I applied over here? I only made sure that I first generate the first n odd numbers. एक बार वो first n odd numbers आ गए ना, first 5, first 6, first 10 odd numbers आ गए, तो बाकी बचता है उनका addition या उनका multiplication. That's what we had to do. So there is nothing much in this particular problem statement. So we first constructed a loop that will get executed required number of times. And every time we'll generate a new odd number. But before that, we'll add that odd number and we'll multiply with the odd number and generate the new odd number. Right? So we made two changes. The first one was what they had, team 3 had written. There we made a change. We avoided that limit into 2 every time. And you could have thought in a different way. Come se aisa socho pehle. And once you start thinking in this fashion, make the problem simple. Understand it carefully. And once you understand what should be done, there are more than one ways to represent it. So have you all received the solution? मैंने दोबारा solution share किया आप लोगों के साथ. Have you received it?
Yes, sir.
Any question? Have you all understood it? Yes or no? संजय डाउट है कुछ? चंदन श्वेता डाउट है?
No,
श्वेता,
sir.
कुछ डाउट है?
सर एकदा रिपीट करता का
काय काय तो
फ्लो चार्ट फक्त रिपीट करता.
हा लूप काय करेल? फॉर काउंटर इक्वल टू 1 to लिमिट काय करेल? मी जर म्हटलं काउंटर इक्वल टू 1 to लिमिट, हा किती वेळा रन होईल लूप?
n times.
n times, limit times. The limit n नाही limit आहे. Initially odd value ची variable ची value मी घेतली 1. I have taken the odd variable odd as value as 1. So forget about these two statements. Forget about these two statements. If I say odd is equal to odd number plus 2, for the first time odd number was 1, then it will become 3, then it will become 5, then it will become 7, because this loop will run n times. And every time I'm generating the next odd number. Yes or no? पहली बार odd number का value 1 है श्वेता, तो अगली बार 1 plus 2 कहूंगा तो what will you get श्वेता?
3,
And अगली बार again if I add 2 to it, what will you get?
5.
5. So we have written a loop over here that will just make sure that next odd numbers are generated. So every odd number that is generated, we are adding it to the sum and we are multiplying with product. Yes or no?
Yes.
पहली बार 1 को ऐड कर लिया, 1 को मल्टीप्लाई किया, अगली बार 3 आ गया, 3 को प्रीवियस सम में ऐड कर लिया, and we also multiplied it by 3, product into 3. Next time was 5, 5 was added and 5 was multiplied. So this keep on happening repeatedly for us. Is that right?
Yes.
Sir,
हाँ बोलो.
sir, if we change that order, will it affect the?
Oh, definitely will affect. कौन सा order? These two?
If
No,
we
it
put
will not
it down,
If you
If we
put
put
this
it-
thing different, if this thing, this statement, if you put it here, then affect.
yes, sir, there only I was talking.
Okay. But then the first odd number was 1, correct? Right.
Yes,
So,
sir.
in that case, it will definitely affect. So let's run the code. If I take number as 5, the answer has now become 35 instead of 25. Because what happened for the first time, 1 will not get added, directly 3 will get added. Because odd
Yes,
number
sir.
initially was 1, na?
Hmm.
So 1 plus 2 will become 3. So the first odd number that will get assigned to sum will be 3. Should it be 3 or should it be 1?
1, sir.
1. So odd number पहले add करो, 1 को multiply करो, फिर make it 3. Then add 3, multiply by 3, then make it 5. Then add 5, multiply by 5, and then make it 7, and so on. It should continue. So order was important over. Now, if I enter 5, you'll get the correct answer. You got it? Have you all understood? Now, amongst you, all those who are engineers, raise your hand. एक ही इंजीनियर है, परसुइंग इंजीनियरिंग ऑल्सो इंजीनियर है. and Bhagyashree mathematics background. So Bhagyashree should also raise a hand. All those who are engineers and those who come from math background should now, what do I say? क्या करना चाहिए? Should hit your own self. एक खुद को एक थप्पड़ मारो. Because you are forgetting some basic mathematics. क्या भूल रहे हो? याद करो. What are you forgetting?
The formula of first and order.
क्या अरे फॉर्मूला देखने की भी जरूरत नहीं थी. If you had ran this same solution, team 3 times, you would have already got your answer. Look at this. When I take n as 5, sum of first 5 odd numbers क्या आ रहा है? 25. Next time I enter number like 6, क्या आ रहा है?
36.
36. अगली बार if I enter number like 7, क्या आ रहा है?
सर हमने किया था try.
मैंने
किया
बोला
था
था
तो
सर।
दिखाने की हिम्मत भी तो चाहिए ना.
सर फिर वो यूजर को रीडेबल
यूजर का
User
क्या है? There cannot
engineer
be a
नहीं
simpler
रहा.
formula than this. वो यूजर को पता नहीं, वो यूजर की गलती है. Can there be a simpler way to do this? Instead of bothering the user to do all this addition and वगैरह, उससे अच्छा है उसे बता दो this is the formula for getting that thing. So the best way to solve this particular problem statement, so for 6 की जगह for 7, and those who don't know, you could have at least, does not mean we should do Google search, but we should be knowing that these are some basic formulas that we have. Sum of first and odd integers. I mean, you should have learned in your school days also. क्या कहता है? N square. Okay. So if it is given as n square and we have tested it out, तो ये सब कुछ करना ही नहीं था. This was not required. ये sum को initialize करो to 0. All these were unnecessary steps that were there. Do it for the odd numbers. Product equal to product number. Odd number is equal to odd number plus 2. That's okay. That could be only for the odd number. And for the sum of first n odd integers is output somewhere or कुछ नहीं. I'll just say limit into limit. Matter close. Why should I bother? First n odd numbers. So वो total तो हो गया है. Do this operation only for product. Here I go. I enter 5. We still get the right answer. I enter 7. We still get the right answer. 49 and ये जो भी रहेगा. Okay. So don't forget your basic mathematics. It's like mathematics that you have learned during your school days. Make sure that you also make use of them. This will be far more efficient. Think about it. If n was 100, 100 times you would have gone and performed operation addition. Now it's only one time you perform that operation, you get the result of addition. So you're working only on the product and not even on addition. So this would have been an improved version of the same program. So don't forget some basic mathematical rules that you are all aware of and make use of them. That's basic mathematics. You cannot be blamed if somebody does not know area of circle or circumference or something like that. That's their problem, not your problem. And you can always give a note saying this is what it is. And if you say somebody that's just a formula, they are more than happy to accept the formula. So don't forget some basic mathematics. Bhagyashree क्या है? You shouldn't have forgot.
तो मैं भूली नहीं थी, मैंने बोला था आशीष को.
हाँ.
उन्होंने ये वो लिमिट का किया था.
नहीं उन्होंने क्या, but did you insist? Did you try and convince? तो बातें किस बात के लिए करनी है? You should have told him, I feel this is the right way to do it. Okay, and that would also be the right answer. Why would they reject? Okay. Anyway, all of you have received the solution? Yes or no?
Yes,
Only Sagar has got it?
yes, sir.
Ankita, why do I need to tell you every time to turn on your camera while others are keeping it on? Okay. Now take the next problem statement. and be watchful. Read the problem statement carefully before you make an attempt to solve that particular question. Okay. Right now. Accept integer. Accept integer n and print all the factors of integer n. And print all the factors of integer n. So when you start discussing कि ऐसा इनपुट आने पर क्या आउटपुट आना चाहिए, there is where your problem discussion should start, and try and understand what the problem is. Define the problem. Problem is one line, so it says accept integer n and print the factors of what did I say? Print all the factors of the integer n. Okay. So what is the integer? We have to print all factors of that particular integer. So I again break you out in the rooms, same rooms. So room 1, only 2 people. ऐसा क्या हो रहा है? There's something wrong. Who are there in room 1? कौस्तुभ सागर आपके साथ कौन था?
मोनिका और आदित्य.
I think Aditya has dropped out or what? Aditya, are you there or you are dropped out? I think he was having some light issue, power issue. So आप दो ही है तो उसको रूम 1 में. So rooms are open for all of you. संजय कुठल्या रूम जॉईन नाही केली?
सर हे झालं मला नेटवर्क ड्रॉप झालं.
Which room were you in? संजय आपकी रूम कौन सी थी? So submit the solutions, all those who have solved it. Submit करो. Whatever you solved, submit करो. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. It's not about getting right or wrong. It's about solving. Okay.
Sir, actually, I'm having network issues, so can I turn my camera off?
Okay. Viraj, you have shared twice.
No, sir, only once.
let's test this score. So the first one I'll take, somebody has solved as factors. Let's look at it. Number to be factorized, integer factor. Enter the number, enter the integer whose factors are to be calculated. Okay. Number to be factorized. For factor equal to 1 to number to be factorized. You go here. Number to be factorized mod factor. What's the initial value of factor? Who has solved this? A किसका है solution?
Group 4.
Team 4. You are saying number to be factorized mod factor equal to 0. What is the value of factor? It's uninitialized variable.
Yes.
उसमें कोई value नहीं है. So if I give number like 10, okay, ये कह रहा है 1, 2, 5, 10. It's just displaying the number. The factors are 1, 2, 5, 10. Okay. Let me see how is it working, right?
सर लूप में है ना इनिशियलाइज
सर
फैक्टर
फॉर लूप के कंडीशन
Divine.
For loop में factor का value यहाँ 1 आ गया है. Okay. 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 तो for loop में factor का value पहली बार 1 था. तो यार number was suppose 10. तो 10 mod 1 equal to 0 है तो number factor print कर रहे हैं. Then अगली बार number 2 है तो 2 mod 10 true है तो यह print कर रहे हो. अगली बार 3 है 3 mod 10 is false तो यहाँ जा रहे हो. Okay. This is a correct solution. ये किसका था? टीम, ये कौन सा था टीम?
Or
Team 4 का ये solution था. But this again can be improved. Team 4 there is an improvement. Think over. Improvement है possible. Correct है, but you can improve. Then there is another team जिन्हें ये solve किया है. Looks like this is incomplete. Integer divided
Yes, sir.
is 2,
Incomplete.
limit is 2, limit is n divided by 2. Okay. चलेगा ऐसा क्या तो भी इनपुट ले लिया था हम 1 to limit ये भी सही है. ये क्या है? यहाँ बाकी है. Why didn't you complete?
सर वो
सही सोच रहे हो.
इनकम्प्लीट रहेगा.
You are thinking right till here.
सर वो फॉर्मूला नहीं मिल रहा था.
फॉर्मूला क्या लेना है? नंबर को mod by 2 mod by नंबर कर लो. Mod से divide, mod से mod gives you the remainder. If I say 7 divided by 2, I get the quotient. If I say 7 mod 2, I get the remainder. 7 divided by 2, quotient है 3. Mod 2, quotient is 1. यानी डिवाइड करने पर जो रिमाइंडर आएगा दैट इज व्हाट द मॉड ऑपरेटर विल रिटर्न इन. तो मॉड ऑपरेटर का इस्तेमाल करना था आपको यहाँ. और यहाँ असाइन नहीं चाहिए था, यहाँ कंडीशन चाहिए था. ओके लेट्स सी अदर. डिवाइजर ले लिया, लिमिट ले लिया. इनपुट लिमिट इज नंबर डिवाइडेड बाय 2. फैक्टर्स आर आउटपुट नंबर्स आर सो एंड सो. डिवाइस इक्वल 1 टू लिमिट वही है. नम मॉड डिवाइजर इक्वल 0 है तो 2 है तो आउटपुट डिवाइजर. Otherwise, continue to operate. Output as num. Okay, that's better than what team 4 had done. 1 and 5. Okay, factors. I'll do I enter 15. 1, 3, 5, 15. That's correct. Next time I entered 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. Perfect. That's a perfect one. See what have they done. कुछ नहीं किया इन्होंने. Divide equal to 1 to limit. Okay. Limit का value, if it was number was 20, they are running the finding the divisor in the range of 1 to 10 only. Can I explain it if team 4 a 1 to 10 ही क्यों किया? जब तो सारे नंबर से डिवाइड करके चेक करना चाहिए था. Why did you go to only till if my input is 20, why are you dividing the number only till 10?
सर क्योंकि leaving the number, the highest factor of that number is n by 2 in the range of 1 to 2.
Yeah, so the highest possible factor other than the number itself is possibly n by 2, not more
Yes.
than that.
Yes.
So there was no point in dividing the numbers by all integers in the range of 1 to n. That is what is the problem that team 3 has done. 4 has done. Team 4 has divided it by all the numbers. Here you have done a smart work. You are saying limit is equal to num divided by 2. So if the number is 20, I will not check whether 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, 3 is a factor, till 20 is a factor. I'll check only from 1 to 10. And then directly they are coming out and they are displaying the last number, say 20 is a factor of itself. But this loop they have written is much more efficient twice as faster as the previous code. That means 100% improvement in the performance. Although both the codes are correct, both the solutions are right. Here also, if I enter 5, it says 1 and 5. If I enter 25, that also gives you the right answer. And if I enter 24, that also gives the right answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, 6, 8, 12, 24. Perfect. So both the solutions are correct. In this solution, they have avoided unnecessary work or dividing a number by numbers which are more than half of the number. There cannot be a factor other than the number itself which is greater than half of the number. 50 का 100 का factor find कर रहे हैं. Is there any factor possible after 51 and before 100? So 51 to 99 क्यों unnecessary check करोगे? So that's better one. I'll suggest one more improvement in this. 1 is a factor of every number. So don't waste your time for 1. You can just say output 1.
Sir, what if I give num as 1?
So 1 is factor of 1.
दो बार print out.
अच्छा, आपके लिए 2 बार प्रिंट होगा. Okay, that's one good thought. तो यहाँ भी प्रिंट होगा और यहाँ भी प्रिंट होगा. Correct? 2 बार प्रिंट होगा. Okay, so if that is the case, if input output is 1, okay, we still have our solution. Okay, I still do that. 1 ही लूंगा. और आपका प्रॉब्लम है उसे सॉल्व करने के लिए डिवाइजर में 2 से स्टार्ट करूंगा. Because 1 is a factor of every number. Why do you want to divide it by 1? So I display 1 over here, and then I display output. So these two numbers are always the factor. 1 is factor of every number. Number is a factor of every number. The same number. 7 mod 7 is also 7 is a factor of 7, and 1 is a factor of 7. So 1 and the number itself हम लोग directly display करेंगे. So 2 to limit ही करेंगे. 2 to n by 2 ही divide करेंगे. So if somebody tells me to find factor of 100, I'll divide that number by all numbers in the range of 2 to 50. And whichever number divides it completely, that's the divisor, that's a factor, and we print it. So we have brought about some improvement in the code. If I give a number like 24, let's see, did we get the right answer? 1 to directly print karna diya, 24 directly, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12. Perfect. If I enter number like 100, so we are thinking about efficiency also. So ये सारे 100 के factor.
Sir, 1 enter करो.
4, 5, 10, 20, तो ये गलत हो रहा है क्या? 2500 बराबर है ना?
Yes.
Correct. 2500. अब 50 के ऊपर कोई डिवाइड करके चेक करने की जरूरत ही नहीं थी. Because there is not going to be any factor beyond 50. Why do that? So this problem avoids checking for numbers beyond 50. Limit is number divided by 2. The number divided by 2 यानी limit 50 तक ही चेक करेगा और बाहर आने पर 100 प्रिंट करेगा. So this was a much better way or the best possible way in which you could have solved this
Sir,
problem.
एक बार 1 input दे के.
करते वो भी करते हैं. Okay, we'll do that. Don't worry. Okay. So let's run the program with input as 1. Yeah, we have factor 1, 1. Okay. So what happened over here? Output 1 आ गया. Divide in the range of 1 to limit. और यह output. So the only problem was for number 1. Number 1 पहले भी print हो गया and number 1 यहाँ भी print हो गया. So when you are dividing it, we are dividing it by all numbers only up to n by 2. So ये 1 दो बार print होगा. That's one problem that we now see in this particular solution. If I enter number like any other number, say I enter number 66, that is working correct. That's also right. First one will be right, but दो बार क्यों print करना? That's the question. So 1, 3, 6, 11, 22, 33, 66. ये सारे सही है. But then, why do you want to print that number 2 times? That could be a question. Factors of 1 are follows 1 and 1. We don't really want to print number 1 2 times. So think about it as to what change could we do other than doing what we have done right now to make sure that 1 is only printed once. Here
तर
one has-
वरती पण एक नंबर आहे.
Pardon?
वरती पण एक नंबर. आउटपुट
तो
आउटपुट
उसे काटना नहीं output. So in that case, for number other than 1, ये अगर मैं यहाँ से हटा दूं, तो 1 के लिए सही काम करेगा. You are correct. Factors are 1. But when I run this code for some other number, say like 10, in that it will skip 1. 1 is a factor of 10, ना? ये सिर्फ 2, 5 and 10 print करता है.
Sir, फिर एक नीचे if condition कि num 1 रहा तो ही वो output num.
But then if you put that condition again, that means number of times the condition will check. ज्यादा बार होगा कंडीशन चेक
Yes.
n by 2 times. So better choice is like you take this divisor 1, एक equation बढ़ाना ठीक है, rather than checking for the condition every time. Okay, so what you have solved was a better one. So here I go, I take number as 14, so 1, 2, 7, and 4. So that's how we have got this particular solution. I'm sharing this particular file with you. Have you all received it? Solution?
Yes, sir.
So I'm not giving you any assignments for today. Just one simple question, not much. Make a serious attempt to solve that question and come down prepared for tomorrow's session. Tomorrow, we're going with some bit more complex designs. So before that, just be comfortable with them. Remind me to take 2 or 3 pseudocode for this. We wrote only flowchart, draw only flowchart. Collect those pseudocode, drop, write, and then we'll go to the next topic. So take down the first question. The only assignment that you have for today. एक ही assignment is. Please note down. Accept an integer n. Accept an integer n and print the first n terms. Print the first n terms from the following series.
Nth term, sir.
First n terms from the following series. So series क्या है? 1 upon 1 factorial. That's the first term. 2 upon 2 factorial. That's the second term. 3 upon 3 factorial. That's the third term. और उल्टा करते हैं. Just take this. ऐसा मत करो. From the following series. Series क्या है? 1 factorial divided by 1. That's the first term. 2 factorial divided by 2. That's the second term. 3 factorial divided by 3. That's the third term. 4 factorial divided by 4. That's the fourth term. करते करते n factorial divided by n divided by n factorial divided by n. So ये series है. So user gives 3, तो मुझे ये 3 numbers print करना. User gives 4, ये 3 number है. User ने अगर 2 कहा, तो ये 2 ही numbers print करना है. दोनों का ही result print करना है. So that's the question. I hope all of you understood the question.
Yes.
1 factorial divided by 1, that's the first term. 2 factorial divided by 2, that's the second term. 3 factorial divided by 3 is the third term. So you have to display the first n terms from the following series. User ने 5 दिया, so from that series you have to display the 5 terms, first 5 terms, first n terms from the following series. Have you all understood the question? Yes or no? Okay. So with that note, we'll stop here today. We meet tomorrow and we continue the further discussion. Don't miss tomorrow's session because I'm going to take up something bit more advanced tomorrow, and that's a bit confusing part if you miss out on the session. So make sure that you attend the session, tomorrow's session under any circumstances. Thank you all for the session. See you next time. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.